Welcome back to another video, my brothers. Today's video is titled The Dark Side of Self-Improvement. Now look, self-improvement is a wonderful thing. Becoming a better version of yourself is fantastic. However, a lot of people, after a certain period of time, start to lose sight of why they started their self-improvement journey, and they end up going down a very dark road. I've got a few points on here which I want to discuss with you, and these points are based off of my own journey. And if you guys can relate, then please let me know down below in the comments. Let's get straight into it. The first point that I've got on here is friends and family will tell you to give it up, mate. Get a real job. This internet thing that you're doing, it don't work. People will try to deviate you away from your goals. Now, parents, I believe, have good intentions with you. It's very rare that your parents want you to become a failure. Usually they say these things out of fear because they're not familiar with what it is that you're pursuing. They grew up in a different time. Okay, so they'll say these things. However, friends, and I say friends, I should say it in quotations, certain individuals, which you may refer to as friends, will say derogatory remarks to you, disguised as jokes. You know, and you got to be very careful with these people because you may be high-fiving the enemy, and that's a whole other topic in itself. But they'll tell you, oh, give it up, man, you've changed. They'll say things like that, and you'll feel like something's wrong with you. Have I changed? Am I a bad person now? Okay, so that's one thing you have to be familiar with, and that's one thing you will most definitely experience on your self-improvement journey. Point number 2 is you expect your friends to be as hungry as you. This is something I talk about quite a lot, especially when I do my lives on TikTok and YouTube. Your friends won't necessarily share the same appetite to succeed as you, and that's okay. It doesn't make them bad friends, bad human beings, not at all. In fact, they can be tremendous human beings. Now, if they're saying derogatory remarks, that's a whole other story, and you have to eliminate those people from your life. I say eliminate, that sounds like assassinating. I mean, remove yourself from their life, as in don't hang around with them, okay? But if your friends are decent human beings, oftentimes they won't share the same appetite to want to go out there and produce and create as you, and that's perfectly fine. But a lot of people get very angry about that. They start to self-sabotage. They start to ruin their relationships with people because they feel like everybody should be as hungry to win as them. Okay? Like I said, vet your friends properly. If they're getting in the way of your goals, that's a different story. But if they're just decent human beings that you occasionally meet up with, have a nice meal with, a coffee with, that's fine. Okay, but I see a lot of guys making this mistake. They start cutting off their friends, and that's another point which I'll touch on very shortly. Okay, the next point is you stop appreciating your progress. Okay, I wonder if you guys relate with me on this one. When you start to do well, in the beginning you're excited, there's a rush of endorphins, you feel fantastic, of dopamine. You know, it's almost a euphoric feeling. Whoa, like I'm doing so well. And then after a certain point, you start to get used to your progress and you stop appreciating it as much as you did in the beginning. Then that's when the complaining starts coming in. Oh, I'm not doing as good as this guy, I'm not. And that's not good. Remember, success is something you attract, not something you chase. So if you start changing and becoming a more negative person, you start bickering and complaining, that will affect your progress. 100% it will. I was at a point a few years back where I was doing well for myself, and then I started to take it for granted. I started to not appreciate it, and I realized I was becoming negative, and that affected me for sure. Okay, so that's something I want you to be aware of. The next point is, instead of appreciating your progress, you stop appreciating your progress. The next one is you let your success ruin you. So that's the other side of the coin. Point number 3 was you stop appreciating your progress. Point number 4 is you take your You let the success get to your head, essentially. You think you're the G now, you're doing so well. Now, if you're still producing, if the numbers are not lying, you're still going out there, the money's still coming in, you're killing it, by all means, you can have that ego. Ego is not a bad thing. As long as you're not tearing other people's buildings down and building your own, then that's fine. You have your own ego. Talk about yourself like you're the best thing that's ever happened. That's fine. But don't let the success get to your head. Don't start thinking, yeah, you know, I'm so good right now, the money's never going to stop, because oftentimes it will. In the world of business, okay, if we're talking reality here, in your fantasy, in your mind, maybe the money won't ever stop. From personal experience, the money does dry up at some point. You might have a fantastic month, then the month after is poor, it's terrible. And you've designed your life based off of the fantastic month or the fantastic 3 months that you've had. You go out there, you finance the latest BMW, this, that, and then you realize that business can often have bad periods. You might have a year where things just go sideways or downwards. Now what? Now you've upgraded your lifestyle way too soon. Okay, so don't take your success for granted. Don't let it get to your head. Be very careful. Okay, move strategically. Okay, the next point is you neglect your social life. Okay, you start thinking, no, I need to be by myself in order to win and succeed. Listen, I preach having strong human relationships because you need them. The reason why a lot of men are depressed is because all they do is work and they never really have a satisfying social life. Okay, they lock themselves in a room, they work all day, either on their computer or they go out the house and they're constantly working. That's their whole life. And they neglect their children's, I don't know, football practice, their wife's anniversary, this and that, and as a result, their life starts to crumble. Maybe the wife files a divorce and he's like, what? Yeah, because you neglected your human relationships. Okay, so pay attention to that. The next thing is you neglect your health in the pursuit of wealth. That's a big mistake. I made that at some point. There was a period where I was grinding, and I laugh at that phrase because we think that it's all about the amount of hours you put in. No, it's about the productivity in those hours. You could work 3-4 hours and then get everything done and then do whatever you want for the rest of the day. I believe in that. This whole mindset of hustle culture, 19 hours minimum, that doesn't work. That's not practical. It's not sustainable. Okay. And what I realized with me is I started to lose a lot of weight when I was skipping meals and I was out on the road, going to meetings, doing this, networking with people. Sometimes I'd forget to eat and I'd lose so much weight. I think at some point I lost like 10 kilograms in just a matter of months. Okay. So don't neglect your health in the pursuit of wealth. Health is very important because without it, you can't pursue the wealth. Okay? And last but not least, you feel empty. And the reason why you feel empty is because you never had a strong reason as to why you pursued your goals and why you started your self-improvement journey. It's easy for us to say, oh, I just want to make more money. That's a generic thing that everybody says. I just want to be in shape. It's just fluff. That's just generic words. You need to have a strong, compelling reason as to why you're doing what you're doing. As they say, if you don't have a reason, you're only here for a season. People that are still at it, you look at them, you're like, how is this motherfucker right here still in business? 20 years later, 30 years later, you'll see the guy and he's just in love with the craft. He's in love with the process. He's in love with the actual day-to-day grind of running a business. Most young guys today, they just want to get the money. But the process itself, they're not really too keen on. That's why I tell you guys to find something where the process in itself excites you. Okay, you look forward to working, not just making the money. In fact, successful people often forget about the money. Okay, the money just comes in abundance because they're not focused on it. Whatever you chase runs away from you. Okay, that's a whole other topic. That's a great video for me to talk about. But if you're running after something, it's usually running away from you. So money in itself cannot be the only reason. There needs to be something bigger. Okay, so that's why a lot of guys often feel empty, because they're like, well, I've got money now. I bought my Rollie, you know, the stereotypical things that people buy when they make money. I've got my Rollie, I've got my Gucci belt. Maybe you bought a Lambo, a yellow Lamborghini Huracan. Now what? Empty. Okay, so definitely ensure that the thing that you do day to day is something that brings you a lot of fulfillment. Okay, sometimes it does. I'm not saying that if you've got to the point where you've made enough money to buy a Lambo, then you're not fulfilled. No, you probably were fulfilled in the beginning and then you lost sight. So revisit the reason why you started. Sit there and journal. Why did I start this business? What was the actual reason? Okay, to help people become better versions of themselves, if you're a personal trainer, for example, or if you have a digital marketing agency, for example. Why did I start it? To ensure that the people that are my clients get the best possible results, to help the local community, to do this, and then you start writing down the reasons, and then you start to feel that passion coming back again. Okay? So don't just have money at the back of your head. Have a strong, compelling reason. Thank you for watching this video. If you got value from it, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.